For a long time, I believed that the best investment that I could make was simply financial. More income, better return, smarter decisions, building wealth. And while I still believe in all that, I was wrong about what actually changed my life. Welcome back to Pages of Her, page 31. Boom. Let's get into it. I measured everything in money, and if it didn't increase my income, it wasn't really worth my time. And you got to remember, y'all, I grew up in an area that was super poor. I mean, it's still really poor to this day. I drove by there. My husband and I went down there, passing through for some reason or another. And I was like, oh my, like, remember I said we used to stay in a motel, not even a hotel. A motel is lower than a hotel. Passed by there and I was like, yo, this is crazy. And I made a comment to him. Side note, I made a comment to him. I was like, hey, we used to live in that motel right off the highway. And then right next to the hotel was this club lounge. And you got to think, this was back in the 90s. Okay. So this was this club lounge type of joint. And me and the kids who lived there, we used to sneak in to the lounge or to the club. And he's like, well, y'all probably didn't sneak in. I was like, no, for real, we snuck in. He was like, yeah, but if you snuck in, I mean, clearly someone had to see you. Why did y'all stay? Like, how did y'all get to stay? Those types of things. And I was like, oh, so you got to think like my surroundings wasn't glamorous. My surroundings wasn't looking like showing me that I had different options. Like I was around what I was around. And so when I'm thinking of having to shift my mindset, shift my thinking, these are the things that kind of stem from that. That if I also didn't have a clear return, like a clear ROI, then it wasn't worth investing my time, my energy into that. I hesitated to take a step forward. And sometimes I also felt like if I wasn't doing something, I wasn't productive. Like I always got to be moving and grooving. Even though I really have been making progress, if I wasn't physically moving and doing something, I felt like I was being stagnated or guilty for not doing something, for not doing more. Like, hey, I could be doing X, Y, and Z in this time that I spent scrolling online or this time that I spent watching a 2-hour movie. I started to think of all of these different things. I started to notice something. What I noticed was some of the most valuable changes in my life were not simply financial. It wasn't necessarily money. It was investing in me. You guys can do the same thing. You may not think this, y'all probably don't even think this is true, but the best investment is going to be in you. God, of course, like don't get it twisted. Like that's still my Lord and Savior. I'm trying to change our mindsets, right? I'm trying to get us to a place where we feel like we aren't having to be crabs in a barrel and trying to survive. The best investment is going to be in you. Things like your mindset, your discipline, your boundaries, your health, your emotional awareness, your ability to slow down and actually think before reacting, your ability to stop repeating cycles, repeating things that kept you essentially stuck in the same place that you currently are. You can make money. We can make money. But if you don't change the way that you think, you're going to lose it as fast as you got it. Or you will build it in a way that costs you your peace. This is what I am trying to avoid. And I hope that you guys are kind of on the same playing field as me as well. Did you know, like there are certain books that I feel like, of course, I don't know if this is 100% true or anything, but there are certain books I feel like certain families require their families to read, their kids to read once they hit a certain age. And I'm not saying like 25 years old. I'm saying if you want to be a part of this ecosystem, you might want to start reading books as a young teen. Think of those families, those wealthy beyond measure families, and that money just stays in their lineage. And you're like, man, how are they still around? And it's been 150 years, like lineage wise. Like, how are they still around that we know of, right? And the first one that come to mind that my husband and I always talk about, not always, but talk about is the Rothschilds, or the people who created Amex, the people who are behind VOO and Vanguard and Blackstone, and this one starts with an S that I can't ever remember. But these families, like, why is it that all of these things are relegated just to these families? It's because they have a certain mindset. They have a certain idea of how they expect things to go. And if you're going to get with the program, get with the program. And if you're not, you're not. Cool. You stay over there, I stay over here. But don't think that I'm going to just hand you things. Like, we all have to put in the work. So one of the things that we were chit-chatting about was that I feel like, or we feel like, a lot of these families have certain expectations. Like, there are books that I think that they have them read, like almost like required reading. You know, when I was in grade school, elementary school, and back then Pizza Hut was like the thing. So Pizza Hut had this thing where you would read, X amount of books a summer, and then when you come in to Pizza Hut, show them your list, and then they give you a free little personal pan pizza. When I tell you, I did that all the time. They knew me up in that Pizza Hut. That's why I got addicted to Pizza Hut as an adult, because I would get their little personal pan. It was just enough for little old me, little old 8-9-year-old me, baby, because I was up in there. Okay. Books are something that I think that people of a certain caliber like expect you to read. There are certain books like Think and Grow Rich, or The Richest Man in Babylon, or Atomic Habits, or the 80-20 Principle, and these different things. And listen, I ain't sponsored by none of these. But what I'm telling you is that I've actually read them, and I honestly was taken aback by some of the information that was in there. I didn't know it. I didn't even know some of these things existed. And some of the information that's in these books, I'm still like, huh? Like, what does that mean? Like, I don't understand that. And then you spiral, because now in order to understand this, you have to read and figure out and research that, so you understand how that plays into this. Because if you don't understand that component, you're not going to understand the bigger picture and all of these different facets. And I'm like, man, my family on both sides, the ones that I know, I'll just say that, the ones that I know on both sides, I highly doubt they understand financial etiquette or investments or any of those things. And I'm not saying I'm a guru, far from it. Y'all know I got $500,000 in debt. Stop playing. But I don't think that these types of conversations were had. I don't think that these types of thought and thinking processes were passed down or created or downloaded into, right? Like, we know about certain culture. We know about certain things because that's what our parents did. That's what their parents did. That's what their parents did. But certain other groups of people, the wealthy people, the people who are reframing their minds, don't know about all the latest and greatest that's happening in the culture today. They only know what they know. Finances, wealth, growing their business, making sure that they leave something in the ground when they leave. And it could just be only for their family. Like, everyone is not trying to leave a legacy for the masses. Like, they're trying to just keep their name alive. I see things differently now. Like, again, I still believe in having those funds, investing and saving and all of these different things. I still believe in those. But man, I see a little bit differently now. The highest return that I have ever experienced did not come from an account. It came from me changing my mindset. It came from me being consistent, from me choosing discomfort over staying the same. Money matters. Money matters a lot. There is hardly anything you can't do in this world without money. But I encourage you to reframe your thinking and change the way that you see and view yourself and your life, so that you can make the best investment that you possibly can in you. The most important investment I've ever made is the version of me that is capable of holding it, growing it, and not losing herself in the process. All right. Until the next page, keep growing. Peace.